Do any of you know who the name of Steve Bannon is? Of course you do. It's why you freaking picked on this video, and why I'm going to praise Trump a lot in this video. Despite, you know, how I may not like him on some issues and blah 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 blah. But anyway, yeah. Trump did something a couple days ago that I really enjoyed. And he did something I've been waiting for Trump to do ever since he kicked that guy out of office, was trash Steve Bannon like a freaking rag doll. And it was perfect. His response, amazing. The news coverage, not very much if you're not on the right. On the left, it was, oh my god, Bannon's still a power player, even though he's not, so we're going to keep twisting him like he's a power player because that's our fault. Blah, 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 like that. Alright, Trump did something so well with his response to Steve Bannon. He deserves a fucking Nobel Prize or something like that. It is one of the biggest political betrayals of all time from Steve Bannon, and then Trump just put it down like it was nothing. It was the most base thing I've seen him do ever since. The most base thing I've seen him do in his entire presidency, and he's done some kind of base things. Alright, so let me pull up the message, not the message, his response to Bannon, and I'll read it to you, and we'll laugh together. I have the article, but before we get to that, I'm going to give you like the rundown, basically, of why Steve Bannon and Donald Trump just do not agree with each other anymore, and why Steve Bannon is a political hack and a douchebag who leached off the corpse of Andrew Breitbart to get to where he was at Breitbart.com. Alright, a lot of this info, you know, it comes from Ben, because, I mean, he knows Steve a lot better than anyone, considering he worked at Breitbart for a few years. But anyway, Bannon was that's a nice little thing there, but still. Bannon is one of those guys who just, he's just a douchebag, like, but he'll come to powerful people with things like, I will make you the biggest thing of all time, and then that'll get them hooked, and then when people realize how toxic and terrible he is, then they'll throw him out. That's how what kind of was with Steve Bannon with Donald Trump. That's basically what happened with him. The only reason that he wasn't kicked out at Breitbart was because Breitbart didn't really know how toxic Steve... He knew kind of how toxic Steve was, but, I mean, he died. And somehow Bannon pulled a Joseph Stalin and managed to... Oh, crap. And Bannon pulled a Joseph Stalin and managed to usurp power from the guy who was going to precede Andrew Breitbart. So he does that. He's running Breitbart for a few years. And then Donald Trump's coming in. He starts to leech off at him, and he goes at him basically the same thing. He's like, I'm going to help make you famous. Blah, blah, blah. And he starts trying to build this movement around Trump. I say trying because it's not really about Trump. It's about him. The dude's a he's just a self-righteous asshole. He started building this movement around Trump, and then, in mind for his own political aspirations, tried to take the movement away. Like he was building up Trumpism as like this, it's like a really super hardcore isolationist thing with a lot of government interventionist stuff, like stuff that people on the middle left maybe would go for. Not exactly the hard left, but like the middle left, or centrist maybe, which is not a Republican ideal. And so you have that, and then when Steve Bannon was in the White House, I mean, he was getting marginalized on a daily basis. Like, I'm being serious. Like, the dude's just, he was not exactly very friendly with other members of the White House. He called Trump and Ivanka, well, not Trump, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump blockheads or idiots and stuff like that. He douches to everybody. Also, the only reason that Kellyanne Conway was on his on the team because oh crap, I killed Eric Jones. But yeah, the only reason that Kellyanne Conway was on the team is because of freaking Steve Bannon. But we'll get back to that. Anyway, yeah, he was just causing a lot of fights in the administration, and because he knew that he was getting marginalized, he started leaking a lot of shit to the press. He was getting on the phone a lot with people from the New York Times and stuff, spreading a lot of bullshit. And as you can know from the earlier parts of the year, he was just being a real blockhead. Like, he was just being an idiot. So he had all that. And then Trump gets tired of it. He fires him. And Bannon's been out there basically been like trying to save Trump from himself, basically, I think is what he said one time. Basically trying to fight Trump's battles for him, even though that's not really what he was doing, is, you know, continuing to build himself up. So once he left the White House, he went back to Breitbart, started kissing ass some more, and then came the Alabama Senate race. And guess who he backed? Well, Donald Trump backed Luther Strange in the second part of the primaries. And then guess who he backed at the end of at the very end of the primaries? Guess who Bannon backed? He backed the incumbent Roy Moore, who, as we all know, is an accused child molester. And so once that happened, once Roy Moore won that nomination, he basically just stuck himself to his leg. Like, he stuck himself like shit on a shoe, and basically tried to ride him through Alabama, basically trying to help build Roy Moore up, even though Roy Moore, as we all know, was already a toxic political figure in Alabama and was very much not liked by the general public. So once Roy Moore eventually lost because of his not only toxicity but also because of those allegations, then Donald Trump, I think he finally started to realize, hey, Steve Bannon's not the guy that I want to he's not the guy that I want to take advice from anymore, because he helped us lose a seat that had been in Republican hands for 30 years in one of the most reddest states in America, which is exactly what happened. If it wasn't for Steve Bannon backing Roy Moore, it wasn't for Roy Moore being a douchebag, that seat would still be in Republican hands. But no, it's because Steve Bannon turned Breitbart into basically a political cudgel, tried to not only silence alleged victims of Roy Moore, but also tried to slander basically anyone who was going against him. And that also came with that comment that Roy Moore had more ounce of integrity in one pinky than Mitt Romney had in his entire body, which I'm just like, are you a fucking moron? It's like, this dude's an accused child molester. Believe him or not, he's not the greatest guy in the world. Alright, and Roy Moore was kind of a Donald Trumpian guy, but I can understand why Donald Trump didn't support him at first. The only reason why he came to support him at the end of the game, because he was basically trying to do some type of like strategy where if he lost, this wouldn't really be beyond on him because it was a last minute thing. But if he did win, then Trump would have to embrace some standful, and that'd be a huge risk, especially if the allegations were true. But yeah, like we said during the entire thing with the people who were supporting Roy Moore, a lot of Republicans didn't support Roy Moore in Alabama, and a lot of people didn't really support him outside of Alabama. Alright. It was just like in the 2016 election, only Democrats came to vote in full this time for a baby murderer. Well, for a guy who supports baby murder, basically. But yeah. So basically, Trump finally gets tired of it. He just doesn't want Bannon around him anymore. He doesn't want to be getting his advice and blah 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 blah. So basically, you know, people like Sean Hannity stopped having him on the air at Fox News. All the people at Fox just basically stopped listening to him. And then all he had to do was basically go to the media that built him up to be the superpower player in the White House. Once that happened, oh boy, things got a little spicy. So more than a few days ago, I believe it was at the beginning of the week, Steve Bannon called the Don Jr. meeting. As you recall, it was the meeting between him and a Russian lawyer for Oppo research against Hillary Clinton that didn't actually get anything and proves nothing of collusion with the Russians, which the Democrats are still really wanting to be like the silver bullet in Trump in their revolver to beat Trump, but it's not going to happen because we all know why. Because we see no evidence now. There may be evidence later, but as of right now, I see nothing. And it turns out that a lot of people inside the investigation were very politically charged, and it should be investigated, but some people are trying to turn this around, like freaking Fusing GPS, the people who helped make the Trump dossier with the PP tapes, well, not PP tapes, the PP stuff. While there was some things that were true in that, that whole thing was largely false. So we had all that. But yeah, Bannon calls Don Jr.'s meeting was treasonous and blah blah blah. And then Bannon keeps on making a bunch of hissy fits in the meantime, along with that. And Trump finally just gets tired of it. Alright? And I'm about to read you the exact quotes from The Hill that basically said that Trump's basically said, I'm done with him. I'll give you a good hint of what's in it. It's fucking brilliant. Alright, I'm gonna keep saying this. It's fucking brilliant. President Trump on Wednesday ripped former White House... Oh yeah, this is direct quotes. President Trump on Wednesday ripped former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon for his incendiary comments of the president and his family public... Oh yeah, I forgot about that book. I totally forgot about the book. And there's also this new book called Fire and Fury that Bannon basically just sold to a publicator that basically says, oh, the White House is just... You gotta glorify Trump at all times. He's a whiny baby. He's mentally ill. I forgot about that mentally ill comment. Alright, Trump's not mentally ill. Alright, if he can come with the awesome argument against Steve Bannon as the one he has in this article, he's not mentally ill. He's not. But yeah, let me go ahead and read it. In a blistering statement issued by the White House, Trump said Bannon had lost his mind and claimed he had no influence within the West Wing. Quote, Stephen Bannon had nothing to do with me or my presidency, Trump said. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. Yes, and wait for that. The president's statement came as part of a full court press by the White House against the book. The book is filled with false and misleading accounts from individuals who have no access or influence with the White House. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said in a subsequent statement. Participating in a book that can only be described as a trashy tabloid fiction exposes their sad, desperate attempts at relevancy. Stephanie Grisham, the communications director for Melania Trump, denied vivid claims in Wolf's book that the First Lady cried tears of sadness after Trump's election victory. Why would she cry tears of sadness? Who the fuck would think that's serious? Who the hell? What a moron. The book is clearly going to be sold in the bargain fiction section, said Grisham. Mrs. Trump supported her husband's decision to run for president and in fact encouraged him to do so. She was very confident he would win and was very happy when he did. Wolf said he had wide-ranging access to the White House during the earliest days of Trump's presidency. The author said he was able to take up, quote, something like a semi-permanent seat on a couch in the West Wing shortly after the inauguration at the urging of the president, according to a note published by New York Magazine, which ran an excerpt from the book. I'm going to go a little farther down. I want the whole statement. Yeah, here we go. But Trump blasted Bannon's political instincts, saying everything to do with the loss of a Senate seat in Alabama held for more than 30 years by Republicans. Steve doesn't represent my base, he's only in it for himself, Trump said in the statement. Trump also endorsed the GOP nominee Roy Moore, who lost the election amid multiple accusations of sexual misconduct. Yes, but he did not support him. He only supported him at the last minute because that's basically all you can do. Alright, I would have preferred him not to have supported him. But that was basically a risk move, because we didn't have any real card line investigation. Because, I mean, a lot of people were like, no, this dude's innocent. And a lot of people were like, no, this dude's dead. So it's kind of hard fall. I wouldn't have supported him if I were him, but, I mean, it was his call. Not a great call, but whatever. Yeah. And Don Jr. tweeted back to him, thanks, Steve. Keep up the great work. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was perfect. I didn't get the whole statement, but I mean, that was good. Like, I needed something like that. I mean, I am amazed that Trump went that far. Like, he was not happy with Steve. Understandably so, because that dude was being an ass, and Trump finally realized how much of an ass he was being, and managed to put him down on the ground for good. I mean, wow. So yeah, and what is this going to mean as far as, you know, the White House power struggles? Well, we all know Steve Bannon's gone, and he's gone for real. Like, he is dead in the ground. Nothing's going to be able to bring him back up to the throes of being an influence on Donald Trump anymore. Like, it's just not going to happen. Alright, I'm glad that it's not going to happen, because Trump did not deserve anything. Well, not Trump. Bannon did not deserve to have an inch of influence on the entire presidency. The only reason he did is because he was kissing his ass. Trump finally realized that's all he was in for, was just for major ass kicking. Well, ass kissing, not ass kicking. Bannon couldn't kick an ass even if he. Bannon couldn't kick an ass even if he had full control over his limbs. Like, seriously, the dude looks like he's a homeless cripple. Fuck that guy. Fuck Steve Bannon. I'm glad Trump got rid of him. Alright. The more people realize that this is actually genuine Trump getting rid of Steve Bannon, and not that this is a whole secret White House struggle for power, the more people are going to realize that, I mean, hey, maybe things aren't as chaotic in the White House as it usually is. Because, I mean, hey, the White House may be chaotic. That's the way it's been since day one. And it got a little less chaotic today. Well, not today. And it got a little less chaotic since Steve Bannon got this huge dump from Donald Trump. And it's glorious. I'm sorry. It's the most glorious thing. And people have to realize that this is good. This is good for the presidency. This is good for the White House. This is good for America. That dude is nowhere near the throes of power. That he never will be once he gets fired from Breitbart. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit, because fuck Steve Bannon in the ass. Hate that guy with the freaking burning intensity of 1,000 suns. I had so since before he even left the White House. I didn't like him when he was helping run Trump's campaign. I'm not gonna like him anytime soon. Not unless he takes major steps of basically reforming his entire persona, because that dude is a dick and deserves basically nothing. He deserves none of my sympathy for being the dick that he is. So anyway, like I said, thank you all for watching. And the next video, yeah, this next video is going to be hard for me, because this is going to be, once again, going against a guy that I like in the throes of politics. But it's not who you think. I want to go against Steven Spielberg over his new book. Well, not his new book. His new movie. The Post. And why I think is, one, a movie with no good political intentions, and two, why it's going to fail. I basically want to plead with him to basically just stop. Just don't do this movie. Just don't release it. Like, just throw it away. Throw it in the garbage, please. Well, he probably already released it anyway, but whatever. I just don't want that. I just don't want this to be basically the movie that ruins the rest of his career, because it is. Alright, it's basically political virtue signaling thing, taking over real life events, and it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well for him or the people who are working with him. Anyway, yeah. I'll have a good one.